Good afternoon to you all. In this somewhat different setting than usual, we are not in the set building, but we are currently in our factory in Samut Sakon. My name is Rick van Westendorp. I'm the CFO of Asian Sea Corporation, and I want to update you on the Q1 results of our company. Next to me is Jane Varanat, and she will be able to support any questions in Thai. Jane, can you introduce yourself?
ค่ะสวัสดีค่ะท่านนักลงทุนแล้วก็ท่านผู้ถือหุ้นนะคะรวมถึงผู้ที่สนใจนะคะในการนำเสนอข้อมูลสำหรับไตรมาส1นะคะของ Asian Sea Corporation ในครั้งนี้นะคะคุณริกนะคะจะเป็นผู้ให้ข้อมูลเป็นภาษาอังกฤษนะคะในส่วนของท่านนักลงทุนที่มีคำถามหรือว่าอยากจะสอบถามข้อมูลเป็นภาษาไทยนะคะในช่วงท้ายของตอนการนำเสนอข้อมูลนะคะดิฉันจะเป็นผู้ตอบคำถามเป็นภาษาไทยให้นะคะแล้วก็เชิญส่งคำถามเข้ามาได้เลยนะคะค่ะอันนี้ขอกลับไปที่การนำเสนอของคุณริกก่อนนะคะ Yes,
Thank you. So first of all, this is of course an unusual setting, and first I want to give my respect to all the people who are involved first line in fighting this pandemic and this COVID-19 situation. I hope we can soon get back to normal again. In my presentation, I will go as usual through our different topics. I will give a brief overview of Asian Sea Corporation. Then I will jump into the financials, particularly of Q1 2020. And then I will outline what we have done to respond to the COVID-19 situation, as well as our views on the impact this has on our business. I will then detail more about our business for each segment, and then come to our outlook for the rest of the year. You may be familiar with the first two slides. Our company is over 50 years old. Since 1994, we are listed as the stock exchange, originally grown as a seafood processing and trading company. We have grown over the years into different business segments, including aquaculture feed, tuna processing, and pet food. Our corporate structure is as follows. We have our listed entity, which is Asian Sea Corporation. Before, we have been trading under Asian Cold Storage, but since cold storage is not our prime business scope, we have changed this into Asian Sea Corporation. Under Asian Sea, we have our factory in Asian Surat. We have our factory in Samut Sakon, where we process tuna and pet food, Asian Alliance International. In Petbury, we have our factory where we produce fish feed and shrimp feed, Asian Feed Company. And then we have a trading company, Asian Food, which is supportive to our seafood business. And we have our company called Asian Pet Care Corporation. Before this was called Asian Group Services. We have changed this name into Asian Pet Care Company since the scope of this company has been fully on pet food and developing our brand of Monchu. Under Asian Pets Corporation, we have several subsidiaries and joint ventures. One is a 40% stake in Interpatina, which is the company that is marketing and distributing Maria pet food in Thailand. We have a 60% joint venture in Asian Group Europe, which is the company where we sell and distribute our pet food in the European marketplace. Taya is our 100% subsidiary in China, which is a company that imports and sells and distributes our pet food, mostly our Monchu brand. And then we have altogether 51% share in Taya Meisu, which is the dry pet food manufacturing facility in Shandong, China. Also slightly different is the segmentation which we are presenting. Before we had 5 business segments, however we have included our small distribution segment into our frozen business. It was already distributing and trading frozen seafood mostly, so it's not a completely different activity, and therefore we simplified our reporting structure a bit. So the segments we will cover is pet food, mostly wet pet food produced in Thailand, and then of course increasingly we will talk about our dry pet food business in China and our Monchu brand development. Our frozen seafood, basically 3 main products, which is frozen shrimp products, squid and silago. Silago is the small fish that you find in tempura dishes in Japanese restaurants. Tuna is human tuna in cans, pouches, and also we have a business which is focusing on ready-to-eat meals, mostly tuna-based as well. And finally, our aquaculture feed, not agriculture, but aquaculture feed, which is pelleted shrimp feed and extruded fish feed. Like I mentioned, we are over 50 years old and have grown organically in different segments of the seafood business. I won't go through the whole sheet, it is for your future reference. But I would focus a bit on the latest developments, which is in 2017 we have expanded our capacity in pet food significantly and have grown that business. We have also launched our strategy to connect closer to consumers and to focus on efficiency, and that's what we have subsequently also implemented in our business. In 2018 we have set up our European and Chinese pet food distribution companies in order to be more into those markets. And we have also launched our own brand, Monchu, which is currently being distributed in China and Thailand. In 2019 we have achieved our credit rating from TRIS, which was a BBB- with a stable outlook. This is reconfirmed again in early 2020. In that year we also invested in our Chinese pet food, dry pet food business. 2020 we have launched, and this is mostly an internal program, our Cheers activity, which is a quite comprehensive corporate social responsibility and sustainability project. And we are happy that we have completed our internal reorganization of our frozen seafood business. And obviously, we have also taken measures to deal with the current COVID situation. A word about our Cheers program. Like I mentioned, this is a comprehensive social responsibility and sustainability program. The C is for consumers, and that focuses mostly on the quality of our products, the quality, the traceability and food safety aspects that we have. H is for human development, which refers to the training and career development opportunities for our people. Efficiency and environment, closely connected, both in improving the use of resources, efficiency of our resources that we are using, and when it comes to environment, our first focus is on our energy use, where we want to rationalize and preferably reduce. Human rights has always been an important element in our operations, and this deals with ethical recruitment of workers, but also making sure that labor practices are complying with applicable law and what our customers expect. And then, of course, the responsibility for other shareholders, we take that serious, and those include our business partners with whom we trade, our shareholders, and also obviously the government and regulators. Talking about our Q1 results, Q1 was good. Our sales revenues were close to 2 billion baht. That was 16% lower than a year ago, and that was mainly due to a reduction of our commodity shrimp business. There are some changes in the composition of our turnover, and those are all changes for the better, I would say. Our gross profit was 286 million baht, which was 14.4% of sales. And I'm very pleased to report to you that this is a record gross profitability for our company. Several factors are impacting this, and I will come back to that later on. Our operating expenses were 130 million, slightly lower than last year. And as a consequence, our EBIT from operations was 156 million baht, triple the amount of a year ago, and significantly higher than in Q4 last year too. We have other income, 18 million, and this is mostly related to duties which are being reimbursed, and we have reported a loss of 21 million on our exchange rate contracts, and this is a result of our hedging policy. We hedge our own balance sheet foreign currency exposure, mostly US dollar, fully, and we take a view on our off-balance sheet exposure. And since the dollar increased during the first quarter, obviously our exchange our contracts were losing. Non-recurrent cost, 16 million, mostly to do with write-downs of obsolete inventories and mismatches in inventories. We have taken in operation an automatic warehouse, and as a result we have completely shifted our manual warehousing activities into this automatic warehouse, and also this was an opportunity to clean up the darkest corners of our warehouses, I would say. Altogether, an EBIT of 135 million baht. Our finance costs were 20 million, also significantly down compared to a year ago. This was a result of lower interest-bearing debt and also a lower average interest rate on our debt. And then with a pre-tax profit of 150 million, we finally reported a net profit of 105 million, which was 45 million higher than the year before. So all in all, a very good Q1, and much better than a year ago and Q4 before. Diving a bit deeper into the different segments of our business, our volume overall has not changed significantly. We have shipped 22,212 metric tons of products. This was very much in line with what we did in Q4, and also only a little bit less than what we did in the quarter a year ago. Our pet food business, this is one thing I'm happy to report about, was almost the same as a year ago, and I remind you that a year ago was one of the highest volume shipments in pet food that we have booked. So compared to Q4, we have grown around 25% in our pet food, and at the moment we are at a level that we were 1.5 years ago, and I'm happy that the demand has recovered again. We have suffered a bit from some rationalization in the pipeline of of a few big customers, and that process has now been completed. Another thing that you will see is that, like I mentioned, our frozen business has shipped 33% lower volumes to 3,571 metric ton, and almost all of this decline is contributed to the discontinuation of our commodity frozen business. This was a decision that we took a year ago. We have implemented that in the course of 2019. We have cleared our inventories, and we have also focused more on value-added products. As a result, we have lower volumes and also lower sales revenues in this segment. Our aquaculture business has grown 18% in volume, a little bit less in sales revenues, and this is a result of increased market share. I'm happy that we get good feedback from our customers and that we are doing well, particularly in shrimp feed. This sheet you may recognize. It's a 5 years history per quarter, and I like this sheet because you see that we have traditionally quite some seasonality in our business, with a slow first half and a bigger second half of the year. This is changing a bit. The seasonality gets less since a bigger chunk of our business is in pet food, and this is less seasonal than our aqua feed and our frozen seafood business. Another thing you see is that over the last few quarters we have a pretty stable business at a lower level than in Q1 last year. And again, this is the result of discontinuation of our commodity shrimp business. When it comes to our gross profit margin, like I mentioned, an all-time high of 14.4%. We have superimposed here the dollar-baht exchange rate graph, and you can see that there is close correlation between the movements of the dollar and our gross profitability. Although this is getting less, and fortunately also at a higher level. If you would include the result of hedge contracts into our gross profit, then still our profit margin is high. It's 13.4% compared to around 9% a year ago. So still a big improvement, and that was a result of higher prices. We have managed to implement a price increase in our business in the course of last year, and the effects you see, fortunately, in this quarter now. Working capital, our working capital has increased. If you look at the bar chart in the lower center of the screen, we have a little bit more than 300 million increase in our working capital, and most of it is due to increased accounts receivable days. It's a bit of a blip. It is related to two large pet food customers where we have renegotiated terms, and as a result of better prices, we also have increased payment terms. We are working on this in terms of reducing with the use of a specific program. So I hope that we can reduce this going forward in Q2 and Q3 and onwards. Accounts payable days slightly increased. Inventory days have increased despite a lower business level compared to Q1 19, and this is because we have decided to take advantage of raw materials that are cheaply priced in some markets, and we will continue doing so. So I expect going forward that our inventory days will further increase. All in all, our net working capital days are 118 days, and in money it is 2.4 billion baht. And I expect that in the months and in the quarters to come, this will grow to a level of around 2.5 billion baht. As I mentioned, mostly in inventories, less so in accounts receivable. Our return on equity, which is measured as the profitability based on the last shareholders' equity, has increased, and that has to do with our increased profit in Q1. I will take the questions later on. Our balance sheet ratios, I like to repeat, they are solid. Our debt to equity ratio is 1.1, down from 1.2 a year ago, and our net debt to equity ratio is 0.8, down to 0.9 a year ago. Our total debt is 2.3 billion baht, which is an increase compared to last quarter. And as I mentioned, this is due to the increase of working capital. Our loan structure is more or less in line with our policies. We have a long-term balance and relatively little short-term loans. This amount is around 670 million baht in short-term facilities, and our total facility level is 3 billion baht, so we're using less than 25% of our facilities in short-term. We are currently discussing about our financing, and I expect to implement in Q2 financing of our long-term loans, and I expect that this will also have its effect on the next year's refinancing. This is our policy. We want to secure our financing for not only for today but also for the future. I can tell you that in addition to long-term facilities that we have, we also have built up a cash reserve, a positive cash balance in our company, in order to cover expenses for the next 1 to 2 months. So solid balance sheet and a good financial situation for AZ. Let me clarify a bit on what we have done in response to the COVID pandemic. We have set up a structure in order to manage this under the supervision of Khun Surya. He is my colleague, Executive Vice President, and he is reporting directly to the board in this. And he is steering several committees, which are all located in our factory and factory facilities, and which are all coordinated by our HR department. So close to daily operations and reporting directly to Khun Surya and the board. And this is focusing on looking what can we do in order to prevent the occurrence of COVID in our operations, implement those measures, monitoring systematically and evaluate, and then take corrective actions wherever it is necessary. Quick communication, all in line groups, so there's little procedure, it's mostly action oriented. So far we have not been affected in our operations, and that's a good sign, and that's absolutely the purpose of this whole organization. Here are some examples of what we do. I think it's not unique. I see it everywhere. We do gate control, taking temperature, and where guests arrive, also questionnaires. We take preventive and sanitizing action. This is not unusual. All our factories are dealing with food, so wearing masks, sanitizing is a daily routine for us. What is new is social distancing in our offices and also in our canteens. It's not a nice situation, but anyway, this is what we do, and we will continue doing so until the risk of COVID outbreak has decreased. I would like to go through our views on the impact on our business of COVID, and overall the conclusion is that in Q1 this has been very limited, if not even a bit positive. Per segment, pet food and tuna, we see increased consumption of wet pet food and snacks as well. And tuna, we believe it's not only consumers that are stocking for bad times. We hear from our customers that in fact consumers are also eating those products. This is all related to more home cooking and less restaurant visits, of course. We expect, because this is being eaten and consumed, we expect no significant negative impact in the second half of the year. We think that especially our pet food business will continue to operate at relatively high levels, and so overall this is not a negative impact, if not positive. Same is true for our value-added products in shrimp. Those are products that are breaded and fried. We ship those to the United States. They are sold to consumers in retail. So it's really consumer products. Those are not products that are ending up in restaurants mostly. Same story as for pet food and tuna. They are consumed at home, and they are convenient because of their way of preparation and their long shelf life. So this business has grown. We are currently operating at full capacity with these products, and also the capacity for the next months is fully booked based on orders. So this is a good growth business. I would say this is in the future this will also grow, not particularly because of COVID, but because we think that this is a growing market, and how fast it will grow depends on the way we can expand our distribution channels and also how we can expand the product range. Squid and Siligo, different story. Siligo is a relatively small part of our business. It has gone down in volumes, and that is related to the fact that in Japan, of course, eating out has diminished in Q1. In Siligo, in squid, our business is significant. Our main market is Italy, and also there we expect in Q2 significant decrease of volume. Q1 was relatively okay because many orders were already coming from the pre-COVID time, but we expect that some existing orders will be pushed through to Q3 or Q4. How Q3 and Q4 will develop, that is very much depending on how the restaurant business in Italy goes. It looks like the restaurants are opening up again, and that will trigger consumption of squid. To what extent is still a question mark for us. We count on some slower business in the second half of the year for squid. On the other hand, the positive thing is that we see raw material prices, both for Siligo and squid, at relatively low levels. I would say the demand is lower and the wild catch has caught up. And where possible, we will take some advantage of that. I will speed up a bit because I want to leave some time for questions. Aquafeed, no significant impact in Q1. I expect also not much impact in Q2 and even on the second half of the year. That basically depends a bit on how consumption resumes in Thailand. Most of the fish is consumed domestically, and shrimp is mostly related to the ex-farm prices. If they are low, then farmers are not stocking a lot, and that has also to do with the business levels in other producing countries. Financing, as I mentioned, I expect our working capital to increase with around 300 to 500 million baht. This is no problem. This is fully in line with our financing capabilities and our covenants. And as I mentioned, we expect to have a cash reserve of around 2 months in our balance sheet. Other operational consequences are limited. Our supply chains are still intact. We have some delays in mostly packaging material suppliers, but other than that, there seems to be no big issues. And labor availability is tight. However, we hope that we can meet our shipping schedules and ship out the orders that we receive. Also, accounts receivable are okay. We don't see any problems in this at this point in time. We'll briefly go through our different business segments. Pet food. As I mentioned, we had a good sales level in Q1, almost in line with Q1 19, which was at a high level. And this was due to the fact that our existing customers resumed their volume ordering. Also, we have expanded our business with our big UK-based customer, and we have started business with a Japanese customer that was already done late last year, but now the real volumes have kicked in. As a result, we also expect a good volume development in Q2. Monchu and China, we have taken the step to distribute the Monchu products ourselves in Thailand, and have lined up a team for that. This is showing some results. We are now in 188 outlets in Thailand, and also have started our business with modern trade, Villa Market, Tops and Foodland, and we hope that others will come soon. And online we have started a business with Lazada and Shopee. In China we had a relatively low sales. This was a result first of Chinese New Year, then the lockdown of most of the businesses, including logistics business. So January, February was relatively low, but we see a nice pickup of the business in March already, and we expect that this will continue in the coming months. Also, our pet food factory in Shandong, Tayamesu, has resumed operations already end of February, showing some good demand right away in March. Briefly about tuna. Tuna is stationary in terms of volume. We have operated at the same level of the past few quarters. You do see some changes in revenues, mostly related to the tuna raw material prices, which have gone up in Q1 compared to the previous quarters. As I mentioned, tuna, we are a relatively small player in this. We don't take any positions, neither in raw materials nor in orders. and we focus mostly on some more difficult products for mostly the Middle Eastern market. Frozen business, factories where we produce, one in Sanut-Sakon and one in Suratani. Very happy to see that our results in this business have improved significantly compared to the quarters before. And it shows that our strategy of focusing on value-added products and diminishing our commodity shrimp business to America has paid off. We have had some difficult quarters in the past where we have reduced the operations especially in Sanut-Sakon. And we have developed further our value-added products. And it's so good to see that now our lines are fully booked. And also that this is right in the heart of our strategy. We are selling to consumers rather than to the distribution business. So pleased with this development. We expect that in Q2 our value-added product line will be similar. I expect some lower squid sales, as I mentioned before. And also in our Silago business, I expect that this will be a bit lower, and we expect some recovery in this in the second half of the year. Our aquaculture feed business, we produce feed for shrimp and feed for fish. Sea bass feed is difficult at the moment. The prices are low, and farmers are not harvesting or are not seeding any new stock. This has to do with domestic demand. Apparently, sea bass is a fish that is mostly consumed in restaurants, less so at home. On the other hand, our shrimp feed has expanded a lot. We have developed further our formulas and get very good feedback from our customers, and as a result we have in a flat market grown our business with 18%. I can be brief about our full year target. We have not updated this, so this is still the same outlook as I presented early this year. I think it's still too early to make an adjustment on our gross profitability. Obviously, we are ahead of our plan. In some areas, sales is a little bit lower, but I expect that we can give you some more useful comments later this year, and we will do so when we have a better picture on this. All in all, I think Q1 was good. Q2 looks like it's going to be strong as well, based on the developments that I have discussed earlier. And probably if the exchange rates are not changing dramatically, we will also have a good month of May and June. I will now take some questions, Jane.
Can we go for the Thai questions first? Maybe
Sure.
Probably better. ค่ะขออนุญาตมาที่คำถามก่อนนะคะเป็นภาษาไทยตามที่สัญญากันไว้นะคะคำถามแรกก่อนค่ะก็คือถามว่าอัตรากำไรนะคะขั้นต้นนะคะขยับขึ้นไปเยอะเลยอยู่ที่ 14.4% นะคะก็ทั้งปีบริษัทวางเป้าหมายไว้เท่าไหร่แล้วก็มีปัจจัยใดช่วยหนุนนะคะอันนี้ขอเรียนว่าเป้าของบริษัทนะคะอยู่ที่ประมาณ 10-12% นะคะปัจจัยที่มาช่วยหนุนทำให้ gross profit margin สูงขึ้นขนาดนี้หรือว่าดีกว่าเป้าอย่างที่เห็นนะคะอย่างแรกเลยก็คืออัตรากำไรของบริษัทเพิ่มขึ้นในทุกกลุ่มธุรกิจนะคะรวมถึงสัดส่วนผลิตภัณฑ์หรือว่า product mix ในส่วนของผลิตภัณฑ์ที่มีอัตรากำไรสูงดีขึ้นนะคะจะเห็นว่าเราให้ข้อมูลไปตั้งแต่ตั้งแต่ผลประกอบการไตรมาส 4ว่ามีการปรับราคาในส่วนของสินค้ากลุ่มอาหารสัตว์เลี้ยงนะคะแล้วก็ในช่วงที่ผ่านมาค่ะเราก็มีการปรับสัดส่วนในเรื่องของผลิตภัณฑ์ frozen ที่เป็นผลิตภัณฑ์เพิ่มมูลค่าหรือ value added เพิ่มขึ้นนะคะซึ่งตรงนี้เป็นปัจจัยที่ทำให้อัตรากำไรดีขึ้นนะคะส่วนที่มาช่วยหนุนให้ดีกว่าเป้านะคะส่วนหนึ่งก็ต้องยอมรับว่ามาจากอัตราแลกเปลี่ยนเนื่องจากธุรกิจของเอเชียนั้นเป็นธุรกิจที่พึ่งพิงการส่งออกมากถึงเกือบ 80% นะคะทิศทางผลประกอบการไตรมาส 2นะคะเทียบกับ Q1 ไตรมาสที่ผ่านมาจะเป็นอย่างไรมีปัจจัยใดช่วยหนุนนะคะอย่างที่คุณบิ๊กได้เรียนไปแล้วก็คือเรายังเชื่อว่าเรายังน่าจะมีผลประกอบการที่ดีในไตรมาสที่2นะคะเนื่องจากว่าสถานการณ์ในเรื่องของออเดอร์นะคะที่เราเห็นตอนนี้นะคะปัจจัยในเรื่องของทิศทางราคานะคะนโยบายสัดส่วนผลิตภัณฑ์นะคะก็เชื่อว่าดีขึ้นนะคะในส่วนของผลการดำเนินงานไตรมาส 1ดีมากนะคะอันนี้ก็ขอบคุณที่ให้การสนับสนุนนะคะทีนี้ถามว่าเราจะตั้งเป้าหมายการเติบโตของรายได้ไหมถ้ามองในแง่ของเป้าหมายรายได้นะคะต้องเรียนตรงๆว่าบริษัทยังไม่ได้พอใจถ้าถามแล้วรายได้ที่1ยังไม่ถึง 2,000 ล้านบาทต่อไตรมาสเนี่ยดีหรือยังต้องเรียนตรงๆว่ายังนะคะแต่เนื่องจากอัตรากำไรที่ดีขึ้นแล้วก็สัดส่วนผลิตภัณฑ์ที่ปรับปรุงขึ้นมากรวมถึงการปรับปรุงประสิทธิภาพโดยเฉพาะอย่างยิ่งในกลุ่มธุรกิจโปรเซนในช่วงที่ผ่านมานะคะก็ทำให้ดูแล้วผลประกอบการน่าจะมีทิศทางที่ดีนะคะส่วนการปรับเป้ารายได้ค่ะตามที่คุณบิ๊กได้เรียนไปแล้วก็คือน่าจะเป็นการปรับที่เร็วเกินไปถ้าเราจะมองตอนนี้นะคะเนื่องจากว่าผลกระทบจากโควิด -19 เป็นเรื่องใหม่นะคะเราก็จำเป็นต้องดำเนินการอย่างระมัดระวังนะคะในส่วนคำถามต่อไปก็จะเป็นเรื่อง gross profit margin เหมือนกันนะคะซึ่งตอบไปแล้วนะคะในส่วนของโรคโควิด -19 นะคะทำให้มีการ consumption ใน ready to eat ready to eat เพิ่มขึ้นหรือไม่อย่างไรนะคะอันนี้จากข้อมูลของทางบริษัทแล้วก็จากลูกค้านะคะพบว่าตลาด ready to eat แล้วก็ ready to cook นะคะในต่างประเทศนะคะตลาดหลักของเราอยู่ที่สหรัฐอเมริกานะคะเราพบว่ามีการบริโภคเพิ่มขึ้นนะคะแต่ทั้งนี้ก็ยังคงเร็วเกินไปที่จะบอกว่ามันเกิดการบริโภคเพิ่มขึ้นจริงจากนิสัยการบริโภคที่เปลี่ยนไปการที่คนอยู่บ้านมากขึ้นหรืออาจจะเป็นแค่ชั่วคราวนะคะแต่เราคาดหมายว่าบางครั้งนิสัยหรือความเคยชินมันเปลี่ยนแล้วมันอาจจะทำให้การบริโภคตรงนี้คงอยู่เพิ่มขึ้นนะคะก็คาดหวังได้ว่ามันจะทำให้มีการบริโภคเพิ่มขึ้นแล้วก็คนจะปรุงอาหารเองมากขึ้นนั้นก็มีส่วนทำให้เราน่าจะมีโอกาสที่มีการเติบโตในยอดขายกลุ่มนี้มากขึ้นในอนาคตนะคะในส่วนของสัดส่วนรายได้ธุรกิจปีนี้นะคะมาจากธุรกิจอาหารสัตว์เลี้ยงมากที่สุดหรือไม่เป็นเท่าไหร่นะคะจากเดิมเท่าไหร่จริงๆเราตั้งเป้าการสัดส่วนรายได้จากกลุ่มอาหารสัตว์เลี้ยงอยู่ที่ 35% นะคะในไตรมาสที่1เรามีรายได้สัดส่วนรายได้จากกลุ่มนี้ค่ะอยู่ที่ 37% นะคะใกล้เคียงกันคือกลุ่มธุรกิจโฟรเซนมีสัดส่วนอยู่ที่ 36% นะคะก็คิดว่าตอนนี้สัดส่วนรายได้เป็นไปตามเป้านะคะแล้วก็ GP อันนี้ยังขออนุญาตสงวนข้อมูลไว้ก่อนนะคะเรายังไม่ได้เปิดเผยข้อมูลอัตรากำไรรายธุรกิจนะคะในส่วนของวัตถุดิบอาหารสัตว์นะคะถ้าจะถามถึงในส่วนของข้าวโพดกับถั่วเหลืองนะคะเรามีมุมมองว่าตอนนี้ราคาไม่ได้เปลี่ยนแปลงเท่าไหร่นะคะในขณะที่ตรงนี้จะเป็นต้นทุนในส่วนของอาหารสัตว์น้ำไม่ใช่อาหารสัตว์เลี้ยงนะคะเนื่องจากอาหารสัตว์เลี้ยงที่เราผลิตอะค่ะจะเป็นอาหารสัตว์เลี้ยงแบบพรีเมียมดังนั้นต้นทุนหลักยังเป็นในกลุ่มของปลาเนื้อไก่นะคะเป็นเนื้อทูน่าอย่างนี้นะคะซึ่งตรงนี้ก็ราคาก็จะไม่ได้พึ่งพิงกับราคาผลิตภัณฑ์ commodity หรือถั่วเหลืองข้าวโพดมากนักนะคะในส่วนของการรักษาระดับ gross profit นะคะคุณลิกมีกล่าวถึงไปบ้างแล้วก็คงขึ้นอยู่กับอัตราแลกเปลี่ยนส่วนหนึ่งนะคะก็สถานการณ์ตลาดกุ้งในประเทศนะคะปีนี้จริงๆตลาดกุ้งไม่ได้มีการเติบโตแล้วก็คาดหมายว่าอาจจะไม่มีการเติบโตนะคะเนื่องจากการบริโภคยังคาดเดาได้ยากนะคะแล้วก็การขนส่งประกอบกับเรื่องสถานการณ์โควิด -19 ทำให้การจับในประเทศค่อนข้างมีปัญหานะคะมีการแข่งขันเรื่องราคาค่อนข้างมากนะคะก็ทำให้เราคาดว่าตลาดไม่โตนะคะแต่ว่าในภาพของผลตอบรับในเรื่องของอาหารกุ้งของบริษัทเนี่ยก็ถือว่าได้รับการตอบรับดีนะคะก็ไม่น่าจะมีปัญหาต่อผลประกอบการของบริษัทCan you like to take some in
some English yeah, there's a lot of questions about maintaining the gross profit margin that I think you addressed that already Jane. I think the biggest impact in our business is firstly we have had a good profitability in our frozen seafood, and that was a result of our value-added product strategy. So that has contributed to overall gross profit. And secondly, of course, the exchange rate has been favorable to us in a quarter where the US dollar has increased systematically. That is also good for our results. Can this be maintained? I expect that we can continue booking a good gross profit. Whether it will be at the same 14.4% level, I'm not sure. As I mentioned, this is a record, and usually you see some decline after that. I think that was it for today. Any further questions, please don't hesitate to address them to our investor relations, and the contact is on the screen. So, thank you very much.